Hi there. Welcome to what we believe we're calling the Week in War. This is Antiwar.com. Well, from the East Coast and from the West Coast. I'm Lucy Steigerwald. Over there in a westerly direction is Angela Keaton. I have forgotten her official title besides Queen of the Universe. But we're going to have a little chat about the pertinent things on the issues of war and anti-war and anti-imperialism and all that stuff. And if you like it, if it goes well, we might do this every week. I'll make Angela stop by now and again, but I won't torture her every week. We'll have maybe some other faces like Eric Garris, the man behind the website, maybe some guests, people who know what's up about war and how it's something we should all be working a little harder at fighting against, except Angela, because she does that all the time and no one can work harder than her. But welcome, Angela, to this auspicious debut.
I'm really excited to be here. I think this is a wonderful new format and new program for Antiwar.com. Now that Scott Horton is doing some different programs, lies on hiatus, I'm really excited to be here.
I'm pretty excited too. We had a lot of technical flailing and yelling, and we may in future, but I think we can do something with this. We have a couple of things to talk about in the next few minutes. I figured we could start off with the optimistic thing and then get to the pessimism. I think, and I imagine Angela might agree, that the last gasp clemency for Chelsea Manning, a hero to many, Obama administration was one of the cooler things to happen in recent memory, one of the better pieces of good news. And I was surprised. I don't know if you were surprised by that.
I, of course, was surprised because my expectations are so low for all concerned that it was a delightful surprise. And I'm just taking that as in my position at Antiwar.com, I'm taking that at face value. I'll leave all the critical theory and my arch right-wing lefty cynicism away from what it might mean, because I don't know what it means. I'm just glad that Chelsea Manning will soon be free.
Yeah, not soon enough. I mean, I figure why not get petty about it? And I'm sure she is feeling a bit better and more hopeful. But the fact that she still has to wait until May is so just annoying. And obviously the fact that she had to wait 7 years and the fact that this is so surprising doesn't exactly speak well of the Obama administration. There are lots of really excitingly cynical interpretations that you could have about this piece of good news, I suppose. And I've had several.
And it is important to keep in mind that Chelsea Manning has been basically tortured for the past 7 years. So yes. I think our expectations should be moderated about what where she might be in public life, though I hope we do get to hear her voice and, we actually get to hear her story on camera the way we have with Edward Snowden.
Yeah. I mean, from the trial, there was some, quasi apology stuff that, who knows how real that was. But, these types of people, and Snowden and Daniel Ellsberg included, always have these flawlessly articulate reasons for what they did, and these great insights into their mindset and how they changed their minds, all three of them having worked sort of for empire and for the security state. And then at some point they change their minds and a light bulb goes on and they become traitors, treasonous traitors and all that. And yeah, so what we've heard from her so far is always impressive, but I can't even imagine how unpleasant a time she's had in the past 7 years.
When you think about what the United States does, I mean, if anything, like Amnesty International or Human Rights Watch really kind of actually held the United States to a real standard, that there's no way that we could have possibly have gotten away with how this country treated Chelsea Manning and other whistleblowers. And of course, there's so many other whistleblowers and people who are basically political prisoners in the US that I can rarely name them all. Like I can usually name 3 or 4 at any one time. That's how many there are.
One of my that this was never going to happen. And then last week I said, oh, yay, I was wrong. Hooray. A sort of cynical thing for Obama's motivation. I was thinking maybe the good news here might be to sort of make his war on whistleblowers that he spent his entire 2 terms fighting somewhat hazier, because he caps it off with this act of mercy. But I also, because I guess I can never expect as little from right-wingers as they deserve, I was still amazed at how many people were horrified, especially at places like National Review, because she was behind bars for 7 years. Not, that's a very long time, except when it was originally 35, it doesn't sound like a long time. That's a really long time.
No, it's a very long time, especially to spend it mostly, I believe, in isolation.
Yeah. You can never expect too little of them, because, the David Frenches of the world thought 35 years in prison was insultingly small, basically. The ones carrying the rope saying, string her up, string him up, whichever, whomever you're talking about.
God bless National Review.
Indeed. Well, as horrible as that was, just the fact that she gets freedom, before 2045 or whatever it was going to be, that's nice. I was purely selfishly, that certainly made my day, and the next several days after that. And it doesn't mean that, anything Obama did is undone. Nobody's going to become undead. That's that should be the official motto of Antiwar.com, is you can't fix dead. You can't really fix prison either, actually. You can only, remedy it a little bit.
Yes, through reparations.
Yeah.
This is really the only way you can show respect in our society. That's how we show that, by giving of funds, transfer of funds, giving her capital.
Well, she deserves it. Damn.
Yes. No, it's no, I think that's the only way that, anything could possibly be restored there, as well as, being shown that she should be given awards just as a thanks from the people of this country for what she did. So.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk, I'm trying to check all my ranting impulses to make this sort of a shorter broadcast, but just the difference between, even among libertarian supposed small government types, there's, well, Snowden revealed spying on the American people, but, Manning, leaked stuff about war, and war is the, convenient, doesn't count sort of thing. It's just happening.
There are libertarians that actually say that.
I'm paraphrasing. People
okay,
who think they're libertarians.
It's just the worst face of libertarianism gets to be seen to the left and the old right sometimes, because Antiwar.com is a good link amongst all the groups. They sometimes see our worst, even if 99% of libertarians were absolutely thrilled that Chelsea Manning was going to be given her freedom.
Yeah. I guess, speaking of awfulness, I don't know if you have anything to say about President Trump. I literally, after all this time, I still have this strange feeling of surreal, really? Are we sure he's the president? And I kind of think he feels the same way still. The guy looks a little shell-shocked still about being the president.
Maybe if he's a little shell-shocked, he'll do a little less of everything.
That's what I've been hoping, honestly.
So I want him to do as little as possible. In fact, if he wants to spend most of his day tweeting and hurling insults at people, I think that would be the best thing for everyone concerned, and he might be one of the best presidents ever if that were the case. I think everyone knows where I'm going to go with this, right? He walked in taking a job where he knew on day one he'd be a war criminal.
Yeah.
He's already been in office now 48 hours or however, I don't know how many hours, I don't know, 3 days. I missed most of this because I was doing other things for the anti-war effort. But at any time, he could end all of this. He could end all the madness and the torture. And while I completely respect our brothers and sisters who have a nuanced and exciting view that Trump perhaps might be ever so slightly, marginally less hawkish and less brutal than his predecessor, and perhaps slightly less brutish than the woman who might have won the seat, we're still talking about someone who is now a blood-stained emperor.
Yeah, it doesn't take long, does it? I mean, apparently he had his first drone strike. Like, I wonder if he gets a party hat or a cake for that.
Oh, I mean, at that level, you get like a gold mine or a very rare jewel. It's not like in our circles where, if you get like some kind of libertarian award, you get like $5 worth of Bitcoin pizza.
Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not necessarily going to turn my nose up at that either. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what there is to say yet. We've all been waiting. We've all, been horrified by the prospect of Hillary Clinton because she was so knowable, and what we knew was just appalling. And I guess that segues. You were talking a little bit in the green room, so to speak, about the women's marches that took place on. I've lost track of the day too. Last weekend, this week.
Yes, sometime last week. When I was dealing with anarchists, anarchists were trying to see their way clear because we choose a different path. By the way, I'm speaking on behalf of myself, not on Antiwar.com. I'm just an anarchist. That has nothing to do with Antiwar.com. You don't have to be an anarchist to hate war. Certainly helps, though. There's so many things that could critique about the Women's March that aren't exactly on point for Antiwar.com. My own reasons for being cynical are nothing to do with George Soros or Breitbart or whatever the nonsense. I mean, it's about many of the critiques of how narrow feminism has become and how much embedded feminism has long since been co-opted. It's not women's liberation anymore. It's feminism, with a trademark symbol, because it's long since been used now to justify empire and the police state. And feminism, prison isn't feminist and imperialism isn't feminist, but you darn well would not necessarily entirely know that by some of the participants in this march. And I think that's one of the criticisms that shouldn't go unchecked, because as I'm a woman, I want all the freedoms, all of them, but I don't want any half measures, and I sense a lot of the women that are leading this are not in the same place as like I would be on the police state in the war.
Well, I mean, the horrible thing is, I don't want to look any allies, even sort of foul weather allies. Like I don't want to gift them in the mouth. There was like several metaphors that just fell apart there. But we both know that almost none of them would have been out there, not hundreds of thousands of them, if Hillary Clinton had won.
Right. And they would, No, none of the important issues would come to the forefront. But there's many other critiques, including the discussion of, Lena Dunham and Amy Schumer are probably not the kind of people who are going to say inclusive. In fact, that's about the same. Feminists do the same thing with that. When libertarians bring Bill Weld aboard, you're basically telling everyone this is a country club for certain ethno-racial class groups, and God help you if you're not from those and want freedom yourself, because you're not really invited to this party. So,
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of talk, about, in Pittsburgh, where I more or less am, there was talk about like, the women's march, and no, we're going to have an intersectionality march and all that. And, buried under sort of the academic talk, sometimes there are real issues, but again, they wouldn't be out there if Hillary Clinton had won.
No.
Because their feminism just withers away if a woman is doing the bad stuff. It's quota feminism. We have to have more women in the Senate and a woman president and women in charge, and then that's the end, I guess.
Right. That's exactly the end. And when all the very privileged women in this very narrow group get to hold those positions of power, they too can bomb countries and kill children and let the police state run amok, just like everybody else can. No, I mean, the obvious one too is that this critique of the police state by this very narrow group of corporate feminists has always been fairly terrible. So calling it feminist, it's feminism light, or some kind of, it's the difference between Cool Whip and something, well, I don't know, I don't even eat dairy, but whatever you would think is the best dairy whippy thing that you would like to have, some cow, whatever. But that's, no, this is feminism. Yeah, feminism. All I do know is that there apparently is one of the women in charge of the march did not name Hillary Clinton as a radical exemplar. And I don't know on what damn planet anyone could possibly think Hillary Clinton is a representative of feminism or feminist values. I mean, but the propaganda and the brainwashing is so good on television that, oh yes, that's what you should be. Someone who marches us off to war.
I mean, the thing about Clinton, I'm not going to name any names, not like they're watching anyway, but I know a lot of people who, in their heart, she would never have been who they chose. Like, they probably liked Bernie Sanders better. They have this vague idea that they would like a lady president, and they sort of vaguely think, well, she's worked hard and people have been mean to her and sexist about her, and I'm sure all of that's true. And somehow that translates to sort of Hillary Clinton turning into this figure, even the ones who know better. And like, again, I'm trashing all these people who are suddenly going to be mad at the president again, and I want them to be, but I want them to learn something. And I'm just, they're not going to. And this has become a very defeatist chat we're having.
No, it's horrible. I just, if it's okay, just for 1 second, indulge me in this. I just want to say hello to someone we haven't talked about in a while, who's a woman and an amazing leader in the anti-war movement, but Cindy Sheehan. And reason to think of her today. Her sister had just died yesterday, and seeing, she's someone whose leadership we've been, very fortunate to have in the past. So we need to rethink what we're doing, but I don't think that there are necessarily our allies and much are going to be the kind of women who think Hillary Clinton is the right direction in order for women to have their freedom. I don't know. It just seems like it's be going back against freedom. I like less freedom. I want to be more scared. I want patriarchy to dominate everything. Hillary Clinton, 2020.
Yeah, that's sorry to hear that about Cindy Sheehan. I met her at G20 in 2009. I kept running into her as we were all trying to escape from various rubber bullets from the riot cops. So that was festive. But like, that's, she's the consistent type. Same with like Medea Benjamin. Code Pink and I, have some serious disagreements, but they never stopped. They were out there holding up painted red hands behind John Kerry and people like that. They don't stop.
No, and I think it's perfectly within decorum to insult a lot of these public figures like Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger deserves no decorum. This idea that somehow we need to be respectful of mass murderers is absolutely ludicrous. So yes, thank you, Code Pink, and I'm sure lots of Code Pink people were out yesterday or out this weekend on message. It just, I don't know. It's the struggle for women's freedom is never going to come through the war machine.
No, that's a good note to end on. I don't know how long we've chatted. I've been trying to keep it short, even though I just want to talk to you a lot because you're very nice to talk to you. But I'm going to see you actually in a couple of weeks at the Students for Liberty conference, and we will be bringing the good news about not killing people to that conference in DC from February 17th to 19th, I believe. So that will be good. I'm excited about that.
All right. Yes, I will see you there.
What do you think? Have we said enough for our first episode?
I'm delighted. I will probably talk about some technical things in the post-mortem, but I think that yes, we'll definitely. This is good. This is a good first take.
All right. Will you come back sometime?
I will be back as often as you have me.
Okay. Good. Well, I'll see you in real life and in internet life very soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right.